say something won't happen. There's always a chance that it breaks out, even though I think ultimately you will see a break lower. The reason I say that is because if you look at when you're brand new, you don't know what you're doing. I was an idiot, right? So I was losing constantly. So I had to work to keep putting money in my trading account to replenish it. Over time, I started to get the hang of it. I started to see that these patterns repeat. When price does this, this is usually the next outcome. I started to formulate kind of a methodology, and finally I became a profitable trader. So I was a long back in like 2019. Well, so going back to very early on in like 2012, 2013, I got turned on to crypto, and I said, what the heck is this? And I started to realize, I was already getting concerned about the US debt at that point and the printing of money after the Great Recession in 2009, quantitative easing, all these fancy words for just printing endless amounts of currency. And it concerned me. And so when I saw Bitcoin and I understood that there would only be 21 million mined out there, I said, all right, this is something pretty cool. So I still remember vividly back in like 2012 or so, I had a buy order out on Bitcoin, and I missed getting, I was being such a nitpicker. I was like, I will only take this price, and I missed it by 10 bucks maybe, right? And sure enough, what did it do? It just started to go up after that. And then it had the 2013 high and correction. But that was my first experience with it. And I did buy it, in and out after that. But for the most part, I believe in the long-term story of Bitcoin, but I just think it needs a washout in the near term. So as many people know, when we were at 65,000 or 68,000 in November, I said, hey, it's going to come back down here. This is too much of a bubble. And it has. I still think there's more downside. You need a healthy washout. So again, it's not a bad thing to see a washout in crypto where it gets rid of a lot of the junk out there, meme coins that have no real use case. You want the best of breed to survive. That's the healthiest thing for the industry. And I do believe that will happen. And so there will be a point when Bitcoin gets low enough where I will become a hodler and I will hold and just let it do its thing. One of the things we're seeing in Bitcoin right now, and I've been kind of on top of this pattern formation, is that you're stuck inside of this perfectly parallel trendline channel. So if you connect this high to this high and you drop a parallel line, it perfectly connects to this low and this low. What you can see over here is that you've just hit that high again. In addition, it's the daily 200 moving average. So in terms of short-term price movement, this is resistance, and you have to respect resistance until proven otherwise. So my guess is you're going to see a pullback off of this. All right. I don't know how low. You'll have some support around 45,000 right here. That'll be the first big test. Now, if you consolidate gently down to 45,000, you could be setting up for a breakout. That is a possibility. All right. And again, as a technician, you can never say something won't happen. There's always a chance that it breaks out, even though I think ultimately you will see a break lower. The reason I say that is because if you look at the bigger time frame here and you see this drop here, so this move to the downside and this choppy sideways action, this is known in the technical analysis world as a bearish flag pattern. If you were to look at 1,000 of these patterns, generally 70–80% of them would break lower. So again, it doesn't mean it's a guarantee. It just means that the probabilities favor that. So again, that's something I'm watching in the near term. Again, basically, we've been range bound here. I've been trading it up and down kind of inside of this. Right now, I am short Bitcoin with members at Verified Investing Crypto right off of this level. We're in the money slightly at this point, but nothing to speak of. But again, we are looking just for some sort of pullback, maybe to 45,000 or so on this chart setup. If you would just indulge me real quick, I would love to show the similarities between the .com here. If you look at this pattern formation, see this M kind of top pattern? All right, so notice that. Remember that pattern on Bitcoin. That's the Bitcoin daily chart. I'm going to quickly show you Amazon's chart going back to the 2000 level. So if you look at Bitcoin's chart, now this is the monthly. I can go to the weekly, so it's a little easier to see here. But basically, if you go back here, and bear with me as I flip back to it, okay, here we are. So basically, you have the same general structure of this M top that we saw in Bitcoin. And the key is to understand that what happens here is that when you top out, this is a psychological top that's formed, and eventually you likely break a lot lower. And you can see what ended up happening to Amazon. Now, on the bullish side for Bitcoin, and this is why I'm so excited long-term, is if we zoom out on this chart, I want to show you this here. That same little M top that was the .com bust is right over here, right? And look at what happened after that, down to, 10,000 or 20,000 or, whatever it may be. But look at the potential longer term. And I really do believe that this will happen longer term with Bitcoin. So pretty exciting if you look at it in that perspective of maybe getting an opportunity to buy in at a lower level. You could go back to kind of that level on Bitcoin where you could maybe go back at least to 52,000. 52,000 is the potential, is another level. So I think if you get above this 48,000 range, then 52,000 does become your next target. For me, the cleanest situation is for it not to get there, since this bear flag is so perfectly aligned inside of this channel. But you certainly have to look at that as a potential. And I would say that we can't discount the bubble top here on Bitcoin, this M top, until you take out the all-time high up here. If you took out that, then you're 100% in a totally different environment versus what we saw with the .coms or any other cycle top on Bitcoin. So that's where I am right now. Now, I still remember people telling me when it was 65 to 69,000, and I was saying, oh, it's going down. They're like, no, but stock to flow. And the bottom line is that stock to flow is very good at long-term predictions, meaning that, you're seeing less supply or whatever it may be. And therefore that tells you a longer term. But the problem is that the markets aren't ruled by logic. They're ruled by investors who are very emotional. And so when you have greed and fear in the mix, greed causes things to go much higher than they should, and fear does the opposite. And so again, yes, long-term stock to flow does make sense, but not for short-term periods of panic, right? So that's my thinking, is that we still have to see that washout. Stock to flow makes sense. The 4-year cycle, I'm still trying to grapple with this, because to me, the 4-year cycle is still perfectly intact. Since 2017 was the last high, and we made the high in November of 2021. I know everyone was telling me that too, and it's just, I haven't seen evidence of that yet. So it makes sense that with all the printing of money, you have this asset going up. We have never been in an environment where inflation is so high and the Fed is tightening. And that's also a concern, is that this is a real test for Bitcoin. How does it handle a hot rising interest rate environment? And I think that's something that we have to watch and see as well. Yeah, in my group, we were long Cardano. So Cardano was one, Polkadot, Solana, so basically any chart setup. And again, because I'm purely technical, I'm all about the chart setups, right? So when we saw kind of key levels holding, and these are some levels here, you can see you had a breakout on this one. This is your next target price on Cardano, which is around $1.40 if it continues to move up. That'll be some significant resistance if it gets there. But I do think that there's something to be said about that. But at the same time, don't expect too much as an investor. You have to understand we're in a tightening environment with the Fed. And that I think that, yes, you get these pops on these altcoins because, let's be honest, the NASDAQ's been ripping. It's a risk on environment again, but I don't think it lasts. So, I do think Cardano might get to $1.40. Then I would definitely be suggesting to take profits. I've already taken the exit on that. As again, I'm just more of a conservative investor. Polkadot, same thing. You can see this absolutely beautiful long-term trend line that perfectly held down here, which is why we were long Polkadot, and you see the move up that you've gotten off of it. But again, eventually, I don't think these things go back to their all-time highs. I think that there's too many coins out there, and you have to see the washout first.